You've been looking pretty good these last few weeks, man.
Yeah, I got a secret stash of the stuff from the mail.
Oh,
Yeah,
you got the Caldera Lab stuff too, huh?
I did get it.
Dude, this is some great stuff, man. It's a 3-product regimen. You can go to their website and check the third-party results yourself. You don't have to believe Ray or I, but we've both been using it. It's great stuff. The 3-product regimen of the good, the base layer, and the clean slate. People who have used it are experiencing smoother and healthier looking skin. It's really great stuff. Go over to calderalab.com and use promo code DELUXE for 20% off. This is a great deal, Ray.
Yeah, look good, feel good, live good. That's what I always say.
Absolutely. calderalab.com. Use promo code DELUXE for 20% off of your entire order.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Welcome to the Drink O'Clock Podcast, where interesting people from all walks of life sit down for a drink and a conversation. Each week, Drink O'Clock features a diverse range of guests who share their stories, expertise, and insights. Hosted by Rob, Max AVV, Valincius. This podcast is the perfect way to unwind and hear from some amazing people over a refreshing beverage. So, sit back, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the conversation on Drink O'Clock.
It's a sexy logo you had up there. What's going on, boys?
Same old, same old.
How you doing, man?
Happy fuck! I've been drinking all day, so it's been it's been a it's a 3-day weekend. You guys have off tomorrow?
Yeah.
No.
This is probably the second time in my life I've had Martin Luther. I worked retail for ever, fucking many years, and I always worked Martin Luther King Day. But recently, my boss, who owns our company, Martin Luther King Day is her birthday. So last year, it is now a holiday for us as a company, and we continued the trend. So I think there might have been ulterior motives there, but who knows? You know.
Well, my company doesn't care who had a dream, so we're going to work tomorrow.
I'm unemployed at the moment, so I have off.
Well, you know what, man? So does my fiance. So, you know, it's been unique. But so I guess the takeover is real, boys. This is my show now, right?
Yeah,
buddy.
Oh man, this feels good. I don't know if I gotta like raise my seat here a little bit, you know, like. So, you know, looking at all your content, gents, you've had some really cool guests. I was looking at your intro. So Ed Begley Jr., isn't he was in like 19 different things. I know the guy's face, and I'm like, I've seen that guy a million times, but I can't place what he was in. Like he was in Better Call Saul, right?
He was in Better Call Saul. You probably remember him from, because when we were growing up, Pineapple Express was a great movie. He was the dad in Pineapple. He was the girlfriend's dad in Pineapple Express. That's what a lot of people from like our generation know him from.
All right.
You remember that?
Oh yeah. Like half the people you guys had on there, I'm like, oh, they look super I'm really good with faces, really fucking bad with names. So bad. Like I'll look at it, I'm like, oh, that person, I know that person. No, I have to Google it. Like you should see my Google search history. I mean, you probably don't want to see my Google search history because it's so weird. It's like, what is this spot on my hand? Is 2 Chainz still alive? You know, it's like it's all over the place. You never really know. But so for me, so your podcast is really, it's a pop culture podcast. So you guys have people that are actors, actors, musicians, old school TV people, current TV people. You know, I think you guys have a really entertaining show, and you know, thanks for having me on, man. This is cool.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank you for. Go ahead, Ray.
I was going to say, you're making our job easy.
and so let's start. Let's roll time back, because that's how I always like to start my interviews. Okay, and whoever wants to go first can go first. But I want to know about the early years. Who is Casey? Who is Ray? And kind of what took us to the point that we're in now, having drinks on a Sunday together. But cheers, by the way. I know you guys crack some beers. So is that a Moscow Mule?
This is I had 3 of these earlier there, and this is my 4th one. It's a New City Mule. It's from the New City Brewery. It's actually like a Moscow Mule in a can, and it's
okay.
They're wonderful. I mean, most of these episodes, you'll see me drinking these. It's just a hard ginger beer with fresh lime. They're spectacular. But then also I have, after that, I have a couple of these wild sours, dragon fruit mangoes from Distill Brewery in Illinois. Looking to get
I'm all about drinking smart, not drinking hard. So anytime I can crack open a can and not have to, like, my old fashioned is like the easiest possible thing you could do. It's a syrup and whiskey. So but whoever wants to go first, man, hit me. I want to know how we got here.
All right. So how we got the deluxe edition with Casey and Ray. Years ago, I started a podcast with a buddy of mine called Saturdays with Chicken Duck. And it was just basically me and a buddy of mine just shooting the shit at his house. Just basically talking about our lives, coming up with shit every week to talk about. And we kind of basically like ran out of things to talk about. So we started getting like local. We're from the Berks County area in Pennsylvania. I know you're in like the Phoenixville area, right?
I'm in Northeast Philly. I actually work in Berks County, right in Warminster, off of Street Road.
All right. So
it's Bucks, not Berks. It's Bucks.
Okay. So we were having like people from our area on, like business owners and like our friends that, are successful and stuff like that. And then COVID hit. And it was like we did a couple episodes like this over the streaming thing, but it like the schedule with my buddy has 2 kids, 2 real little kids, and he had just had the kids like prior to COVID, and it just wasn't working out. So then another former buddy of mine, we had been always talking about starting a podcast. So we had already had guests lined up from Saturdays with Chicken Duck. So me and Bill started Deluxe Edition, and he was the host of that. And then things, go as they go, and
life happens.
Life happens. I got a list of rules that I didn't like, and and then I asked Ray to be my co-host, and here we are. It's Ray came on, I think, at episode 70 of the podcast, and we're at what? This is like almost 120 or so now. So
something like that.
Okay. So Ray came in to save the day, is what you're telling me.
He fucking saved the day, big time.
Nah, I just pretty much had left another podcast that I did for 2 years with my other buddy. And I was like talking because originally I was supposed to be a host on their pod like the week that I basically left the other one. And I was like, you know what? I don't have anything to promote, guys. So I don't think I'm coming. I don't know if it's a good idea to come on. And then I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to have a podcast. So then Casey's like, nah, do something. So I started the 10 Cent Beer Night podcast. And I did that for like, what was that? Like 3 months or 4 months before you and Bill split.
Mm-hmm.
And then Casey was like, hey, I got some guests lined up. I need somebody to do the interviews. I want second host for the interviews. And I was like, all right, I can do that. And then he's like, I got another interview scheduled. Do you want to do that one too? And I said, just want me to be the co-host? He's like, yeah. So yeah, and then we just partnered up, and we've been basically killing it ever since. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you guys, the guests you guys have, like I said, it's pretty incredible. Like, I don't want you to give your secret sauce out, but like, how do you guys get some of these people? You just reach out to them on
Well,
Instagram or?
a lot of the times I drive around and I look for celebrities and I give them hand
Yeah, no.
Hey, Deluxe Edition Network, come hang out.
Yeah, no. Ray gives me a list of people every month, and I just do my research and I reach out, and for the most part, everyone, we've reached out to everyone, like Matthew McConaughey, from Matthew McConaughey to people that you've never heard of and no one else has ever heard of, but for the most part, like, people will get back to us. At least, I mean, Matthew McConaughey's people, they got back to us and said no, but I mean, at least they respond. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's simple. I mean, all you have to do is pay for IMDb Plus or IMDb Pro. It's like $15 a month or whatever. It has everyone's contact info.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. So that kind of opens you up to at least know who to reach out to and what the connections are, right? Because a lot of times it's gonna be like managers and publicists and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And then we had Frank Lemire's on a few weeks ago. He's on one of the #1 shows on Netflix right now. It's Fairy, and then he was on a show before that called Undercover. He lives in the Netherlands. Like, I messaged, I go on IMDb and look for his contact info. It's just his email address. Like, he has no manager. Like, so that you'll get that sometimes too. Like, these people, you think they're like, holy shit, they're like so famous, and it's just their email address.
It's just like, oh, hey, all right. It's their name at gmail.com. You're like, fucking great. This is awesome.
Yep.
So, let's talk a little bit about the actual Deluxe Edition network. Talk to me about how that came to be, the history of it. I mean, look, I've been in now for, I don't even know, maybe 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. I don't know. I lose track of time anymore. And, I appreciate it. You guys let me hop in. In terms of the rules, I'm getting better. I have everything automated at this point. But it gets to a point where sometimes I just totally forget. If you saw my notes here, I have it in bold, highlighted, and it's basically a whole page of podcasts of the month. So I don't miss saying it, because then I have to go back and re-record me saying it and putting it at the end,
No, hey, that's all right, man. Like, hey, I mean, we run the network and we still forget. Like, last week, I was thinking, after I had just messaged somebody about it, I was like, hey, you forgot to do this or whatever. And then I go back and I start editing our episode from last week, and I was like, fuck, I never mentioned it once.
That happened to me so many times, and you'll say something I'm like, fuck, I'm holding my phone and I'm just like, shit, damn it, and I'm like, I told myself to do it. So now I always make a mental note and I put it on my sheet here of questions, so I never forget it. But talk to me a little bit about the growth of it. How did it get here? Who came up with the idea, and kind of how you guys got there with it?
Yeah. So I'll talk about this. So with my other podcast, the Saturdays with Chicken Duck, and Ray, that's how I met Ray years and years ago. We were on another network. It was called the No Phony Podcast Network, and it was okay. I mean, we met a lot of great people. I met Ray through that. His podcast was on that originally. Like, over the course of maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years or so. I forget how long exactly it was in there, but it just kind of people seemed to stop giving a shit about it. And the only thing that anyone was doing was sometimes retweeting things on Twitter. And it's if you want anything to be successful, you have to do more than that. You know what I mean? It has to be more than Twitter, and especially since I had real high hopes for Twitter after Elon took over, but it's the shits now. It's worse than it ever was.
Oh, it's so bad, dude. It's so bad. I get so many weird messages and shit, and it's all spam. I have 3 different accounts. I have one for my business, one for my old streaming, and then just a personal. And my personal is Twitter's always where I followed all my sports stuff. I'm big into sports. So you get the most up-to-date news on Twitter for the most part. And then or Instagram, but Twitter's pretty good with it. And then my other accounts I don't really use a whole lot, but if I just switch over, it's like all these weird groups, spam, it's like the like the sex accounts where it's got a weird name and they follow 1,000 people, and it's like, come on, man, we know it's your fucking spam. Like, you're not even like trying to hide it. You're not even trying to hide it at this point.
Right. So the guy that ran that, the guy that started that, the no phony thing, he had asked, I guess, like the group or whatever, if anyone else in there wanted to take over. And there was another guy that took over for a while, and the same thing. I mean, it did nothing. Like, he did nothing to change it. No one did anything else to make it better. Nothing. Right. So then the original guy, then once again, he came to me specifically, and he was like, hey, like, this guy never did anything with this. Would you want to take a shot at it? And I was like, absolutely. I said, but like, there's going to be some big changes. And he was like, well, what? And I said, well, the name. I think the name, I'm sorry to tell you, but I've always thought that the name kind of sucks. And he was like, well, what do you think it should be? And I said, the Deluxe Edition Network. And he goes, no one's going to go for that. And I said, why? And he goes, well, because that's the name of your podcast. Like, why would other people be promoting your podcast for their network? And I said, because it sounds good. I said, and they don't have to say the Deluxe Edition Network. I said they can shorten it to the Den, which is even better. You know what I mean? And he's like, no one's going to go for that. He's like, but you're more than welcome to mention that to the group, because we were all in this big group chat in Twitter. And so I wrote a message, and I was like, hey, I'm taking over the network. It is now called the Deluxe Edition Network. And, the big changes are going to be made. There's rules that everyone's going to have to follow, this and that. And like, one by one, everyone just started leaving the group chat. Like, and
you're like,
actually,
at that moment, you're like, oh, fuck.
But so then, like, the only person that stayed on, actually, no, 2 podcasts stayed on. It was Metalhead Journeys, who's still part of the network with Rob, and then it was do you remember the other one, Ray? Oh, the rant with Herman James.
He hung around for a while.
He hung around for a while, and it was just the 3 of us for a while, until I started like reaching out to people, and fuck, we're at almost 30 podcasts now on the network, and I mean it's running pretty fucking good. I mean I've had to get rid of a couple people here and there because they don't follow the rules, but like, if we want this thing to fucking grow and to be successful, like, that's what everyone has to do. Like, we have to promote everyone's shows. Like, that's why we're doing, like, we are like I guess like the mother show of the network. So like, that's why we've been doing these like takeover episodes with everyone on the network, because it's like, everybody's been asking us to come on their show and stuff, but it's like, this is easier for us. And also, like, it kind of makes us look like the head honchos too, because we're like having like these takeover episodes where you're bringing your show onto our show, so.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's free publicity. Like, yeah. I mean, I think it's genius what you guys are doing. I think the rules, you have to have those rules in place. You have to, because at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to be any good to the network if I'm not doing my part. And it's the same thing for everybody on it. So, I could tell you, and, anyone listening to this, if you're looking, I've definitely grown in terms of my listeners and downloads and views since I joined. So I'm very thankful for you guys. So I definitely wanted to make sure I kind of gave you guys a little pat on the back for what you're doing. And it's cool, man, because, every small podcast, it's tough to grow. Yeah. And if you're not doing the right things, if you're not networking, I think is probably one of the most important things on the planet. Look, there's 8 billion podcasts, right? But I think, like, everyone has different genres. I mean, look at how many genres are in our network. You have sports, you have movies, you have horror movies, strictly just horror movies. Yep. Now we have multiple interview style podcasts where they interview millions of different things. So it's like, if you have all those different things, they're not competition at all.
Yeah.
right? I mean, I consider most of you guys friends at this point because I talk to you guys all the time. So, plus it's a really great way to bounce ideas off of each other. I mean, how many times in the Facebook group were you kind of just like going back and forth and bouncing ideas and networking and preparing for the Denny's and you
Yeah.
know, like you know, just doing cool shit like that. I think it's a really good thing, and I think if more podcasts networked more, I think they would be successful because I think it does take time, right? I mean, when did you guys start to, or you know, Casey, I guess specifically, like when did you start to feel the flow of this podcast? It's not after the first 5 episodes,
Fuck
you
no,
know.
man. Like honestly, like we're at 120 episodes, and it's only like recently been within like the last like maybe 20 episodes, or maybe even sooner, or maybe even less than that. But it's all in just like it's a real fucking pain in the ass, but you have to be so constant with posting and posting and posting everything. It's like, you know, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, like all these places, they make it so easy for everyone to do this. Like, what Facebook owns everything now, so you can, or the Meta or whatever it is, so you can post to one thing and it goes out to everything else. You know what I mean? So you have to stay consistent with it. We've been doing these reels and the shorts and everything with the videos, like cutting up our all of our old previous episodes into 1 minute long clips. And it takes forever. My girlfriend's constantly like, you're always on your phone. And it's like, well, yeah, but we have 70,000 views in the last fucking 30 days. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to fucking get our numbers up. It's like,
And that's not easy to do, man. 70,000 views is good. I mean, I was telling my buddies, I was happy because I hit like 15,000. And I really only started posting on TikTok and YouTube for maybe the past 2 or 3 months. But I've been doing this podcast for a year and a half. So like it's taken I know socials are important. I know I got to do that stuff, but I've only really been working on it the past 2 or 3 months, and my views are way up because I'm actually doing it. And
right.
Yep.
I have a schedule, if you schedule and you do all those things, that's when you really start to see the growth. But you see too many people just post one and be like, all right, it didn't go viral, I'm done.
Yep.
Oh, I can't tell you how many posts I make. Probably fucking 20 posts a day. Some of them get 2 fucking views. That's just the nature of the business that you're trying to build. And then I'll post something just ignorant, and I'll reach 85,000 people.
Yeah.
It's dude, the algorithm's wild, right? It's like I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he had the guys on that did the documentary in 2020 about the social experiment, like social networking. They were talking about how bad it is, basically.
Yeah.
But everyone's worried about AI, and what they don't realize is AI's been around since really social media started. The algorithm is just a learning artificial intelligence, and it's kicking out all the content that we perpetuate as humans. That's what it does for every fucking thing you can think of. So that you have no idea what I'm sure that actual algorithm is. Like if there's a lot of hate, it's because that's what people want to watch, because the hate's out there. Violence, all that stuff. And it could be good. I mean, my For You page is weird. It's dogs, because I just watch a lot of dogs, and then my brother's an asshole and he sends me videos of midgets, so little people, sorry. And so it's dogs and little people. That's my For You page, is dogs and little people. So
wait, what I don't even know what For You is. What the fuck is For You?
So that's the algorithm for TikTok, I guess is what they call it. Like, so when you go on TikTok, it's that front page of just searching through random videos.
Okay.
Trying to, that's what they call it. It's basically your personal algorithm.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
mine is cute dogs and just weird midget videos. I don't know where, like, that's just how it is. And I'm like, come on, stop sending me this shit, bro. I don't want to see it. You're ruining my page. And I do see you guys a lot, though.
Yeah, Ray and I were talking about that before or earlier. Like, the algorithm shit makes no sense. Like, I can tell if, like, on YouTube, I can tell if a video is going to do well or not within the first 10 minutes of posting it. Like, if it gets 0 views within the first 10 minutes, it's going to stay there and it's not going to fucking go anywhere. But if it has at least 10 views in 10 minutes, like the same amount of views in the same amount of minutes, that video, it does like better than some of our regular podcasts. Like it blows the fuck up. It's crazy. It makes no sense,
right? It's like catching a cold, right? You sneeze,
Yeah.
and you get fucking 5 people sick, and those 5 people get 25 people sick. It's like it just spreads. I
Yeah.
would love to know like what goes into that algorithm. And I mean, think about what life is going to be like in another 5 or 10 years with AI. It's going to be scary weird, dude. Like
Well,
just scary.
hopefully the AI will just do the show for me and Casey, and we won't have to do anything. It'll do our interviews. Fuck,
I will tell you,
interviewing won't even have to be there. The AI will be there for them too.
I will tell you,
but it'll be actually you guys, but it'll just be computer generated.
Yeah, it won't actually be us or the guests. It will be us and Matthew McConaughey, but it'll just be AI generated.
You probably could actually do that now.
Probably.
Like a very close aspect of it, you probably could do. Like you could probably have Matthew McConaughey on.
Yeah,
it's just not going to be actually Matthew McConaughey.
I watch this podcast every week on YouTube. It's called Kill Tony. It's on every Monday. We were talking about it last week. There's a comedian out. His name is Duncan Trussell, and a few weeks back he was one of the panel guests on Kill Tony, and he brought out this dummy that he had, and he's not a ventriloquist by any means, Duncan, right? And his, the dummy's name was Lil Hobo, right? And he goes, would you mind if I did an impression for you, Tony? And he's like, sure, Little Hobo, I'd love that, right? And then everything gets completely silent, and it's Tony's voice, and he goes, yeah, I've said some real hurtful things over the last couple years, and from now on, half of the proceeds that I make, I'm going to send to BLM. And it's all fucking AI generated. Like Duncan has this program where he fucking puts the people's voice in, and it generates it. It's crazy.
That is so fucked. I think I've seen that show. I saw one, and they had a handicapped comedian that he had like the robot voice.
Yes.
And I don't know if you saw that one, but he would show his phone, and then they'd play the voice.
Yep.
And he was hilarious.
He's funny.
Like he
yeah,
was fucking hilarious. But they have some pretty good guys that come on there, and they say some fucking crazy shit. Like just crazy shit. A buddy of mine, I think, put me onto that show. But all right, so you're a pop culture podcast, so it would behoove me to not talk about pop culture with you guys. So I don't care who goes first, but I need from the two of you either your all-time favorite movie or your all-time favorite show series, whether it's all time or the past decade, whatever you want to do. Hit me.
Go ahead, Ray.
My favorite all-time movie is 1933's King Kong.
Okay. Wait, you got to tell me why. There's got to be something to that.
So as a kid, I saw it, pretty young. I had already seen The Hills Have Eyes and horror movies. I grew up on those. We played Frankenstein at my first birthday party.
That's awesome.
To me, King Kong is like a gigantic adventure. Like there's dinosaurs, there's a big fucking monkey. And there's this dude's like, I'm going to catch that monkey and I'm going to make money off that monkey. And then the monkey gets loose, and it's just like, it's fantastic. And plus, I live in Cleveland, and I don't know why, but every year growing up, they played King Kong around Thanksgiving. So I've probably, I'm 51. I've probably seen King Kong at least 40 times.
You'll be 52 by the time this comes out, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we got a birthday coming up.
Yeah, we got a birthday.
Birthdays blow, dude. As you get older, it's like, fuck, I don't fucking. At least I'm alive, Like it's at this point, that's all you're like.
The last good birthday I had was that first grade birthday party where we watched Frankenstein.
It's kind of funny, right? Because King Kong was basically like the whole plot of Jurassic Park. I feel like Jurassic Park did the same thing. They're like, all right, we're gonna we're gonna bring dinosaurs back and make people pay. Like, it wasn't really about the science; it was about the money, right? Because same thing with King Kong, and I mean, the graphics probably weren't as good. It was a guy in his suit.
Yeah, but King Kong is a love story about a monkey who didn't do anything wrong except fall in love with this beautiful blonde-haired woman, and then everybody fucks his day up and kills him for it.
Yeah, it's fucked. That's fucked. He didn't even do anything. It's not like he wanted to do that.
He literally didn't do anything wrong. They said, "Here's a beautiful woman, you can have her." So he took her, and then like, well, we're going to take her back. And then they're like, you know what? We're going to kidnap you, and we're going to put you on display, and now we're going to make money off you. And he's like, "Fuck that! I'm busting out of here. I'm going to go get my lady friend." And then they kill him for it. Like, you know, at the very end, it says, you know, beauty killed the beast.
You know what would be a great movie, a great fan movie, is a movie through the eyes of King Kong instead of the.
I wish they could have had his voice coming out of his head. You know, like, what the fuck is going on right now? What the hell?
Why are these guys shooting my ass?
Yeah.
What did I do wrong? Hit me, Casey.
I'd like my favorite. I'm going to move my giant head to the side here for a second, and can you see that back there?
Full Metal
Jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my favorite of all time, man. It's just a fucking, like, my dad was in the Marines, and like, I'm pretty sure that he was the one that introduced me to that movie when I was probably a lot, you know, way too young to see that movie. And it has stuck with me, man. It's like, I couldn't believe that people went through that shit. My dad, especially, I mean, he never was in any wars or anything, but he went through all that, the Paris Island and the training, and he was like, you know, that's the way it was. It's like, this guy got it right.
Yeah, I mean, it was I love war movies. I really do. And I mean, it's just like goes back to like Saving Private Ryan and shit like that. Like anything about like just the old, like, it's wild to think that, you know, we're still what? We're basically within the past 100 years, there's people that are still alive that have gone through some of the biggest wars we've ever seen in humanity. Like, yeah. But we're at a point now where, you know, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, right? The whole thing in Ukraine, and like, we're not dealing with that here. But in terms of like, you know, you had World War I, World War II, Vietnam. I mean, there was other smaller conflicts and stuff after that. But I mean, World War II, we're 80 years, 85 years away. And that was one of the biggest atrocities in like all of humankind. Like, and people are still alive from it. Yeah. So it's wild to think that like we're just that far removed as a society that these crazy things happened. And like, you know, sometimes it'll randomly pop up. You'll see something, whatever. But we're like, people are like 85 years old and they were fucking in the war. Millions of fucking people died, man. Hitler was a psychopath on cocaine all the time. Like, oh man, it fucks me up sometimes to think about it. I go down this rabbit hole and then I continue to go.
I've been around I've been around people who were, and I'm sure Ray has too, like that were in World War II. And like, I've gotten drunk with a few of those old timers, and like some of them, they just like, at one point, this guy, he was just like, had this fucking stare, and it was like, he was completely fucking gone. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't coming back, you know what I mean? Until like he fucking went to sleep and woke up the next day. It was like, man, fuck. The shit that they saw.
I couldn't imagine, dude. I really, like, you know, and that's, as a society, you got to feel like it's kind of fucked, right? It's like, oh man, I can't go eat my favorite sandwich today. But this guy 60 years ago was in a trench with no electronics, fighting for his, throwing nades, fucking like there was no electronic shit back then either. So it's not even like war now. There wasn't a drone, like him sitting there with fucking goggles. This guy was dipping his head up, hoping he wasn't getting shot in the face. Meanwhile, his buddy next to him loses half of his face. Like, it's, I don't know, man. Like,
nobody's posting to Instagram back then.
Yeah. Like, oh shit, I lost my buddy today. And it's like, you're not seeing that shit on it. You know what? now I really think about it, you don't see much from like in the beginning when the Ukraine war happened. You saw a lot, like all the crazy shit. You don't see anything now. Like I could scroll through my Instagram and not see a single fucking post about it.
Yeah, well, there's so much other shit going on now too, you know.
Dude, just every day there's something fucking new, you know. There's a new form of fucking COVID. Apparently, there's another fucking disease that like is like RSV, and it's like every time you turn around, it's like, you know, Armageddon. You know, I keep waiting for them to be like, all right, well, there's a comet, and we're all gonna die in 6 months, so have fun. Like I keep waiting for that announcement.
And the you said you follow a lot of dog videos, or you get a lot of dog videos. Have you been getting that? There's like some kind of dog respiratory thing going around too now. With the, it's like
dog AIDS. It's basically like dog AIDS. Once they get it, if you get to a certain point, they're gonna die.
Yeah.
They're like, don't take your dogs to groomers. And I'm like, well, my fucking dogs in 3 months look like they should be homeless.
Yep. Don't take them to
take
dog parks, or don't let them get nose to nose with another dog. It's like,
you know, if a dog can't sniff another dog's ass, that's un-American.
You know what? It's
take
actually
dogs to the park.
It's actually like when they always say like for dogs, never stop your dog from smelling something. It's like that's like the one thing that's ingrained into them. Mm-hmm. And by you doing that, you like fuck with all their senses.
Yeah.
So just let your dog fucking smell, man. Like just let them do it. It's weird, but just let them fucking do whatever they need to, you know?
Yep.
You know, I'll tell you, I was struggling with this question in terms of what my like favorite series or movie was of all time. And I think I would have to go with this series, and I'd have to probably take Breaking Bad as my top series of all time. Because if you look at like just the show in general, when I first started watching it, it's like, oh, that's the dad from Malcolm in the Middle. Nah, this guy's not going to turn into a fucking drug lord. Okay, and if you're listening to this and you haven't fucking seen Breaking Bad, come on, man. Okay, I'm not ruining anything at this point. I didn't watch the movie, which I know they did some stuff to try to tie in. I heard it's really bad.
Yeah. What, El Camino, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never watched that either.
But the show was just masterfully done. Everything they did. I mean, look, there was some outlandish stuff. He got away with some stuff. You're like, you know, especially as you get it later on. But it ended like the ending I was a little upset with. But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, look at Game of Thrones. Well, the ending of Game of Thrones is atrocious.
You kind of knew it was going to end bad one way or another.
Yeah.
I mean, it was coming one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew it was coming, and I think they did a good job of where and how they did it. And I really think that there's no other show. And even, dude, Better Call Saul. I thought Better Call Saul had a great ending, was a really, really good show. They didn't really have a ton of lulls, you know, like boring episodes. Like I actually enjoyed that show probably more than I anticipated I was going to.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got through all of Better Call Saul. I have to go back and watch that because I do like Bob Odenkirk a lot, and I like that character a lot. Yeah, but Breaking Bad is an awesome show.
Wow.
Yeah, we had remember the junkyard guy, old Joe.
Yeah,
we had him on, Larry Hankin.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Did he give you guys any like awesome? Like, I love the fact that you have fucking Bill Burr is in it. You know, who is the big henchman? He was like the big black guy. Was it like they name him like Tank or something?
I don't remember. It's been so long since I fucked
Eustace. It was some weird name that they had in there, and he was great. He didn't say much, but he actually makes another appearance. He's in Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Yeah, because Better Call Saul is the way they do it is pretty cool. It's like they do like flash forwards of like where he is like after everything happened. Yeah. And then they go back and they're like explaining like, and so the show is going on along with Breaking Bad, and they actually make an appearance too in one of the episodes in the last season. And they just did a really good job.
It's funny because they think people are so fucking stupid that they did the flash forwards in black and white.
Yeah.
So that the stupid people could enjoy Better Call Saul with the rest of us.
Dude, it. I was reading a story today, like the stupidity of just, I guess today's day and age is absurd. I read a story earlier on Fox, and I got immediately angry and I just exited Twitter. But it was like a couple was suing a gummy bear company because their 3-year-old choked on the gummy bear, and there was no warnings that the kid could choke on the gummy bear, on the bag. And I'm like, for one, the parents should be fucking arrested. Okay, not the gummy bear company, Hasbro. Like, they shouldn't be the ones getting in trouble. Like, these are the reason why we have warnings on plastic bags to not put them over your head.
Yeah. There's all those memes now. Ray runs our Instagram page, and he posts memes all the time. Like, people thinks there's going to be flying cars in the future, and then it says the future. Do not eat this wrapper.
Yep. Look, man, I am not a smart man by any stretch of the imagination, but compared to a lot of these people roaming around, holy shit, they make me feel smart.
We're all basic. I feel like anyone that's like especially in their 30s and on, I feel like I was born in a generation. Casey, how old are you?
43.
Okay, so I'm 37. So we're right around the same age. I feel like we were born in a generation that you'll never see again, because we were around before electronics, like to a certain degree, and then during and now after. So we can appreciate, like, when we were kids going outside and fucking playing with super soakers and playing football and pick up basketball. And, my mom's like, be home by this time, because I didn't have a cell phone. So if I wasn't home by then, she thought I was dead, because my mom always just thinks I'm dead. I'm 37. I get a call. She's like, I heard sirens. I'm like, Mom, I live an hour away from you. I appreciate it, Mother. I love you to death, but I'm okay. It's like, you're going to hear sirens all the time. And especially if you're close to Philadelphia. Okay. Like, it's a thing.
Here's a fun one for you. I'll plug my phone in and go do something else. Watch the kids. They plug the phone in and they sit by the phone jack and still play with it while it's charging. They can't get away from it for 2 seconds. It's crazy.
It's an enigma, I think. And, I think eventually you'll have a bubble pop type of moment, I feel like, at some point. But we're going to get more and more ingrained into our own technology. I mean, and before you know it, it's going to be in us. I mean, did you guys see that, the pin?
Yeah.
No.
So it's an AI pin that you could put on your shirt, and they want to get away from using a phone in your hand. So it's got a hologram. So it'll show the time on your hand, weather, temperature, text messages. It can connect. It has an AI in it, and it's also connected. You have to pay like $30 a month for the phone service. It makes phone calls for you. It orders things for you. It's like carrying around like a walking smart Alexa that's like also a phone. It's pretty wild, but you're going to start to see more and more technology like that.
Going back to we were talking about the AI stuff earlier. Going back to that, and we were talking about like all the different the clips and the reels and stuff that I've been posting. I use a program on the internet. It's called Opus Clip, and it's an AI generated program. Like, after this episode is recorded, I will drag the file over into that program, and it cuts about 30 to 35 1-minute long clips based on like keywords that are popular on the internet right now. And it's fucking amazing. You know what I mean? Like, it takes this whole screen, like the three of us, how we're separated, and it puts it into a little Instagram sized box, like without me doing anything. You know what I mean? Except dragging the file over to the fucking. It's awesome.
I've used Opus. Opus is legit, man. It's really good, and it does a really good job. And I will say this, Ray, your controlling of the memes on the Deluxe Edition Network never needs to go away. I laugh every fucking day to at least 3 things that you post, and I'm like, and I'm like at work laughing, and I'm like, all right, that was good. That was good. There's nothing like a good meme, dude. There really isn't. You know, especially if it's timed. Like memes are great because what's not funny to me or at the time not engaging could be someone could literally be in that situation and they just you know are all about that specific meme, and then I feel like that's how all that shit like gets viral. You know, but yeah,
it's crazy.
never
We talked about
take that away from him. Never take that
No,
away.
I won't. Because it's one less thing that I have to do, so I won't. But yeah, speaking of that, the like going viral and shit. Like we talked about this last week on the podcast. Ray posted a meme, and it's a meme that he took from someone else. It's not like he made it. You know, he makes some of them, but like the memes that he makes, our logo will be in the corner or somewhere on the thing. But he just shared this other guy's meme, and Jelly Roll's wife fucking shared it to her story. She has over 1 million followers, and it has like 6,000 fucking likes on it. It's like fuck. That's all it takes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, you post 5 to 10 times a day some memes, and all it takes is just one for someone to reshare, and especially if it's someone that's like legit like that, you know.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
My actual goal is 15 to 20 posts on Instagram a day. That's the goal.
Tough. That's tough.
It's fucking hard. It's fucking difficult. I won't lie. It does eat a lot of your time up, but you got to get some templates. You got to have some good meme sites to steal from. You know, just random hot chicks. You know,
yeah, that's another one, man. The fucking there's a picture with Sarah Silverman. He said, "Happy birthday, Sarah Silverman." It's a picture of her with like her boobs out, and it's like over 1,000 likes. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, the proof is in the pudding. Like you know, that's what it takes. Like the reach on Instagram, like right now, is over 100,000 people. You know what I mean? It's like that's just what you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of takes me to I wanted to ask you guys a couple questions about building. So, you know, I'm sure you guys have people to listen. I know I sure do. What are some tips and tricks for people who are new to podcasting, or maybe they're trying to grow their podcast that you can kind of bestow upon them to maybe help grow their podcast and get into a network?
Oh yeah, number one, good sound equipment.
Yeah, good sound equipment. Consistency. It's fucking. You have to be consistent with it. You know, like, you know, fucking Joe Rogan. Like that's what his job is. I mean, he podcasts and he releases an episode. With us, we have jobs. We have other stuff that we have to do. Like we stay consistent with it. We record every week and we release at the same time every week. Like we don't have like the leniency or whatever you want to call it that Rogan has, like where we can record every day and just keep dropping episodes. So you just have to stay consistent with it. Like Ray's been saying over and over again, the posting, Instagram, Facebook, the shorts on YouTube and all that stuff, like that helps tremendously. Like, and I have like a big shout out to Mark Singer. We've talked about this before, but the Beastmaster, he's the one, like he's really the one like that turned like our YouTube channel around for us. Because I was like getting a bunch of views with reels and stuff on our YouTube channel, but they had nothing to do with the podcast. I was posting like a video of me going to a wrestling match or me going to a strongman contest, you know what I mean? And like shit like that. And they were getting a crazy amount of views. But he was like, what does this have to do with your podcast? And I was like, well, nothing, but it's views. You know what I mean? I was like, we need the views. And he goes, well, you have to make it based on your podcast. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you want people coming back to the channel, because of your podcast, not because of some dude lifting a fucking rock, or you know what I mean? So since that, man, like it's been pretty crazy. Like the growth has been awesome.
I would also say that in when you first start a podcast, go back and listen to yourself and look for the things that you don't like that you're doing. Like when I first started, I hate that I would say a lot. So I really focused in on is a bad word when you're trying to convey a message, or like I have a bad habit. If somebody says something funny, I would repeat it because it's just a natural thing that I do in real life. So
Yeah.
I go back, I listen to the episodes in the beginning just to get a feel for what I don't like about what I'm doing, because you're always going to be your own worst critic. And if you're not, then you're not cut out for podcasting. If you think everything you do is fucking gold, then you are not going to make it, because you have to be critical of what you're doing and fix the little things. You don't have to tear yourself down and say, I fucking suck. I give up, because we all know everybody gives up within the first 10 episodes.
Yeah. That's why another criteria now for our network is I won't let anyone on the network unless they have at least 10 episodes, because like Ray said, people will start a podcast and they'll do 5 episodes, or and they won't have 1,000 fucking listeners in the first couple weeks, and they're like, well, fuck this, so yeah, you have to. I do a lot of editing to our podcast as well. Like if you'll go back and watch this, like when we're talking about somebody, I'll put up a picture of them in the video, or I just said I will. You won't.
I didn't say you weren't allowed to do it. I said I don't like when I do it.
But in the episode, you won't hear me say that, because I go back and I edit it all out. I make myself sound fucking perfect. You know what I mean? It's all in how you want your show to sound. You know what I mean? If you don't care that you say 1,000 times in the episode, then that's fine. But I don't like me saying it, so I edit it out. I can't edit myself in my head. I can't edit it out. Like Ray, it's very rare that he will say it during the episode, because he noticed it, like he said early on during his podcast. But I can't do that. I still say it, so I just edit it out.
I definitely still say it, but I will tell you this: the nice thing with Squadcast is with Descript buying them, when I do my episodes, if I would like to edit out like filler words, it'll automatically edit them out for me.
Oh,
and it's got a pretty cool thing where it does have an AI voice generator. So I speak a sentence into it and it'll save my voice. So if I need to fix like a random word that I said or fucked up, I can plug it in there and it'll put it in there for me. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I like that.
It's pretty. You should play with it. You should play with it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was talking to. Unfortunately, I am signed up with StreamYard until October of 2025. So until then,
well, you know what, man? And here's the thing: like, this is a passion of mine. It's it's something that I do because I just enjoy doing it. But the editing side is probably the most time consuming, and I'm a stickler with editing. So all of my audio edits, some of them I'm golden. Some of them I can listen to at one time, but like you should see some of my audio edits. Like it'll be like I'm just cutting. It just looks. I use Adobe, so it's like you look at the audios and it's just like it doesn't even look like a solid line. Like if you're to back all the way up, you're like, this is absurd. But I have to fix things. I'll move things around, and I would agree with you guys. Like, look, my podcast is still in its infancy. I'm not even at 70 episodes yet, but I didn't think I'd hit this far, to be honest with you. But I love the grind. And I think for us, the grind, we've been grinding our whole lives. So, it's not like anything is ever really handed to me, but I think the grind is really what makes this fun, because you can see the more work you put into it, the more growth you get out of it. And like I had my highest downloaded month in November of 23. And that was cool because it took me well over a year. And now I can compare month over month because I've got a year and a half in. Now I'm looking, all right, well, what did I do last November? And, and I'm sure you guys can attest to this. And I always say this to podcasters when I interview them, but it's the episodes you think that are going to do really well that don't.
That do the worst.
And it's the episodes that you think are going to be dog shit do amazing. You're like, what the fuck is this?
Ray and I were just talking about this off air earlier. Like, I mean, dude, we've had Tommy Chong on the podcast. He has over 1 million fucking followers. Like, I'm like under the table, like, this is gonna be it. We're gonna fucking blow up after this. You know, it's one of our worst episodes. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what the fuck? Because they don't care. Like, they're just doing it to do it. You know what I mean? They're not sharing it with their followers. You know what I mean? But like, some of our better episodes, some of our best episodes are with people who they're just our friends. You know what I mean? Because they're sharing the podcast, like, and other podcasters like you'll share it with your fans. You know what I mean? And like, some of these episodes, like, not saying that, you know, you're a nobody, but like, this might do better than some of the other episodes that we've done because, you know, you'll share it and like people are fucking interested in it because it doesn't make any fucking sense though. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
it's mind-boggling to me. And the same thing, I've had people that have good followings. I'm like, oh, this guy's got 40,000 followers on Twitch. You know, I think it'll do well. And then it's like one of my bottom 4 episodes.
yeah.
And you know, it's not deflating because I'm from Philadelphia. So I tend to have I go into things with a negative outlook. I'm like, you know, I look at the worst case scenario first, because if good things happen, then it's all gravy, baby, you know? But
right.
if you go into it thinking this is going to be the best fucking thing ever, you get disappointed quickly. So
yeah,
maybe I'm just a negative Nancy. I don't know.
We were talking about this year, like 2024 is going to be the year that Casey and Ray talk to the people that they want to talk to, and not the people that we think everyone else wants to hear. You know what I mean? Like, we have some people coming up that we know there's a very few people that have ever heard of them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's a dude he was in a movie. Ray actually, our guest last week, Catherine Mary Stewart, she was in a movie called Dudes with John Cryer and Daniel Roebuck. And I just watched it last week for the first time. We now have Daniel Roebuck scheduled for the podcast. And then we also have this other guy. His name's Pete Wilcox, where he's been playing Elvis for the last 65 years, like in different movies and like it's just fucking crazy. And it's like, he said to me, he texted me and he goes, I hope I'm going to be interesting enough. And I'm like, dude, you've been playing Elvis for the last 65 years. Like, that's pretty fucking interesting.
I gotta say,
I don't care if anyone else knows who you are. I want to talk to you.
And that's pretty much what I tell Casey every time I send him the list. I don't give a fuck if you know who these people are or not. Contact them. And then he goes, well, you're doing the lead then.
I really like that you said that. Like, I think that's, you end up liking your own podcast better. And I feel like it shows when you actually do the interview. You know, I know looking back, like what you said, Ray, looking back at some of my older episodes, you know, I was just trying to get people on, you know, oh, you think aliens are real? Come on the show. Let's fucking talk about it. And yeah, it was entertaining to me, but was it a good episode? Probably not, but that was my first 10, 15 episodes. So, and I think we all hit those bumps kind of as you go. What's funny, you guys keep talking about like obscure movies. I'll tell you my fiance's 2 favorite movies, and I know she's listening to this. She's probably gonna laugh in the background, but she's obsessed with Tom Hanks. So 2 of her all-time favorite movies, which I didn't know existed until I met her, was The Money Pit.
Oh, fantastic movie.
Fucking great movie. I didn't know it existed until I met her. And The Burbs.
The Burbs. I actually have the movie poster in the other room. The Burbs is one of my favorite.
We had Patrika Darbo on from The Burbs.
Yep. Really? They had someone on from The Burbs on their show. Oh, that's so cool. She said that's so cool. You guys are cool. So it's funny because, you know, anytime we say her all-time favorite movie though, and this will probably give you a window into her psyche, is American Psycho. So
another great movie.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Mazes and Monsters.
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's a made for TV movie starring Tom Hanks.
Interesting. Babe, I think I got a
Ray
movie for us
knows
to watch.
fucking everything, man. The last guest that we had, she was like, I'll name a movie that you've never heard, and like she said it, and Ray knew it from another title.
Yeah.
I wish I was like that, dude. I'm really good with sports stuff.
Mm.
But when it comes to like the like movies and shows and actors, I'm really bad at like I know them. I'm like, oh, I know that guy. Like I'm telling you, I saw all your stuff. I'm looking at your website. I'm like, oh, I know all these people. No idea where I know them from. I'm just
Dude,
like,
Dude, I host a pop culture podcast, and I fucking know nothing about movies.
well, I feel like that's you guys. That's why you're perfect for each other. You know, it's like a perfect.
Well, that's why it works. That's why it works.
Yeah, the co-host thing is interesting. You know, I think it takes like if you're going to do a podcast, it takes two like-minded people, where you share the same interests and you're easygoing, but it takes equal amounts of work. You know, so it's like it's good that you guys have like that good dynamic, because I know plenty of other people where they have co-hosts where it's the division of labor isn't like that. It's like one person doing it all, you know.
Don't be fooled. I actually do. I do nothing. I literally do nothing. Casey does all the heavy lifting.
Hey, you run the Instagram page, man.
Yeah.
Fucking 100,000, over 100,000 reach in the last 30 days. I'll take it. You fucking keep it up, man.
But yeah, my other podcast I do by myself, and I will say that of the two dynamics, I do prefer a co-host because it's much more fun to bounce shit off of somebody else. And when you're by yourself, you're just carrying the load and you're talking into the air as if it's a person, which I find to be, it was weird at first, but I got used to it. And then when I started doing with Casey again, I was like, all right, I prefer the co-host.
Yeah, I think there's something about being able to have someone to rally with, because not every topic and not everything you're going to do too resonates with you. Like I'm pretty versatile. Like I could talk about a million different things, but like, you know, there'll definitely be some things I'm talking to someone, I'm like, I have fucking no, and I'll tell the person up front, I'm like, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Well, and I don't know if I can lend any help to that.
I got to tell you, I was listening to your last episode of the Drink O'Clock podcast, who is a member of the Deluxe Edition podcast network. And you can find those over at deluxeeditionnetwork.com. And the podcasts of the month this month are Bev's Video Kingdom, Barrel Age Flicks, and the Kindness Matters podcast. But you were talking about shit, and you're like, yeah, you know, I had to go and program this shit, and people had no idea what the fuck this program was. And I was like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Dude, I'm telling you guys, it was like so I work in Medicare. So I deal with older people all the time, but the insurance agents are also tend to be older people that I deal with. And the room of people didn't understand how to search a PDF file, which was you just hit Control F.
Yeah, this
all
is
you
it.
do.
So
hold on. What is this? What do we do?
They're like, where's the control button?
I'm sure Ray might not even know what a PDF file is. I at least know what a PDF file is.
I actually just converted my resume over to a PDF file. So fuck you.
Let's go. Point for Ray. Dude, it was bad.
Did it take me 3 hours? Yeah, but I did it.
But I can fucking edit a podcast. I don't need to know how to search a PDF file.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't have to edit my podcast because it's perfect from start to finish.
He doesn't say once, sir. Okay.
Right. Mostly because I hate editing so much. That's why I do that.
It was bad, dude. I will admit, but it's all the time. So I'm our trainer nationally. So I do internal training and external training. And these guys and girls and women and men, whatever the hell it is, they don't know shit about the internet, computers. I have to teach people how to use the internet, how to use their email. I mean, it's wild to me. And look, I have a degree in IT, just an associate's, but I've always been good with technology. That's my thing. right? My mom still calls me. How do I do this? You know, but I'm like a curious person. And I feel like with technology, you have to be a curious person because I'm always trying to figure out, well, why don't I understand that? How does that work? And I think for me, doing the podcasting thing, everything was new to me. I didn't know how to edit audio. I didn't know how to edit video. I didn't know how to really promote shit on social media. And I had to teach myself everything. And I think that's why for me, it's just, I enjoy doing it because I learn something new every day. And I'm sure you guys can attest. It's like a constant learning process when you're doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. When if you really want to, you can go back and start from the beginning of the podcast. Cause I've done, even when Bill was on the podcast, I've done all the editing from episode number 1 until right now. And you can see how, especially on the video, how it has changed from the first episode until now. Like there's just so many different things I've found, like, and it's just so simple. It's like, oh shit, all you have to do is click this and drag this over here. But there's like the transitions that you'll see when I do say instead of a hard like cut, Ray and I, we don't move too much during the podcast, so I can put this transition.
If you're doing a podcast and your co-host says something and they're about to start talking again, because they're going to repeat the same thing, don't fucking move.
Yeah.
Stay perfectly still so that when he does the cut, it doesn't look weird.
Yeah. So I do this
like
transition now, and you can't fucking tell that there's any cuts. You know what I mean? And for the first, I don't know how many episodes, I didn't know that I could do that. So it was just like a hard cut, and you'd see like the fucking beep. You could definitely tell that it was a cut. You know what I mean? Now if you can tell that there's cuts in our episode, it's pretty rare. I think I'm pretty fucking good at what I do now for the editing.
Oh, dude, you do a great job, man. Your transitions are great. Your graphics are great. You guys do a good job. Let's end on this. Who do you guys feel, and I don't know if we'll get some arguments here, is the most influential pop culture icon of our time?
Ooh, of our time.
All time. Whatever you want. This is your show. I'm just here for the ride.
I'm gonna go pre-1970 Elvis. I'm gonna go after 1970. I'm gonna say David Lee Roth.
Okay. My mom, Elvis is my mom's all-time icon. And so her birthday, he died on her birthday. And it's like a memorial. Like you go to my mom, she has a whole Elvis room. Like we have Elvis lamps in my mom's house. Like hardcore big time Elvis. I want to take her to Graceland someday.
My grandmother had a picture of Elvis on her piano with mixed in amongst all the family pictures.
With Jesus and my grandmother too.
Oh, Jesus, Elvis.
Just Elvis.
I also have the TCB lightning bolt tattooed on the back of my leg, his company logo. So I love this.
Yeah, my grandmother was a huge Elvis fan as well. She had the exact same thing. She didn't have a piano, so it was just the Elvis photos with Jesus and the rest of the family members.
I'd love to be able to at some point in my life take my mom down to Graceland and be like, "Hey, let's go," because I know that's on her bucket list, and I feel like she'd be crying for hours.
Yeah.
I'd like to check it out too.
Yeah.
When I knew that my grandmother didn't have very much longer to live, I called her and I said, have you been to Graceland yet? And she's like, yeah, I've been there. Don't worry about it.
At least she told you, nah, you're good. She could have been like, nah, I've never seen it. No idea.
And then she's like, come on, the jungle room's this way.
My dad, he was like, he's like, yeah, your grandmother was one of those women who would throw her panties on stage for Elvis.
That was like 90% of them at that time. Anyway. So she's okay. She's part of the crowd,
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with mine are very different. I'm gonna have to say, especially for like pop culture, like with what we're doing, pre 90s or whatever, it would be Johnny Carson. If you went on the Carson show, your career skyrocketed after that, and it's Joe Rogan now, especially for what we're doing. He's I've heard numerous people say that he's the Johnny Carson of our generation. You know, after you go on his show, you're shit. If he mentions your restaurant, that he had a sandwich at your restaurant or whatever, you're pretty much fucking set. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of wild to think he's basically the father of podcasts. I mean, there's been others before him, but it wasn't really until he took off that is when I think a lot of the other ones. And I gotta say this: I hate that like super popular celebrity people do podcasts.
Oh man, I bitch about that incessantly.
Me fucking too, man.
You don't fucking need to do it. You're hanging out with these people all the time. You know, let us people down here. You know, like,
yep.
Yeah, don't you have another TV show you could go do?
Not every comedian needs a goddamn podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some that are better than others, but save some for the rest of us.
Yeah, it's just like Always Sunny has a podcast. And I'm like, that's not even fair.
Yeah.
Like all them dudes are funny as fuck, and now they're all on one podcast. That's not even fair to the rest of them.
How do you compete? How do you compete with that? I feel like for me, I would take MJ, Michael Jackson, because he did some things that now we're talking professionally here, people. We're not talking about Neverland. That is out of the equation. Because did you guys ever see that documentary?
Oh yeah.
Not yet. No, not yet. But even still, like, dude. All right. Even though, I'm gonna, before you even say what you're gonna say, but even with all that other shit, he's still considered like one of the biggest fucking megastars of all time. You know what I mean? So,
and he's been dead for how long, and he still makes millions every year. So that just goes to show. And I don't know if I really can think of anybody that is like recent to me. I do like the Joe Rogan one.
That's a good one.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people just copy. I mean, that's America. We always just copies what people did in the past, and they make it better. That's what makes us America, you know. But I do think he did a lot to bridge like pop, and he kind of took it to a whole nother level. Even his music videos, like no one was doing music videos like he did. Like Thriller was basically a movie. So I mean, I'm not like the biggest Michael Jackson fan of all time, but I can say I think for me, I think he's got to be up there in all time iconic pop culture people. His music, everything he did, and just not Neverland. We should probably never talk about that. And do you guys have any? And I could tell you off the cuff, just two of mine that were the craziest. But do you guys have any interviews that you've done? You don't have to mention names, that were just like off the wall crazy for you, like shit they were either saying or doing, or anybody that comes to mind?
There's a couple that had stories they wouldn't tell on air.
Ooh,
one was recent. I'm not going to mention his name because, you know, he's hopefully going to come back, and it's bad business to rat out your guests for being insane.
100%.
There's a lot of them. Quite frankly, there are a lot of our guests that have great stories because they're from the 70s and 80s, and they were doing drugs, sleeping with everything that moved. And in this climate, they weren't ready to tell some of those stories.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, off air, they were more than happy to have conversations about those stories with us once that little red thing stopped recording in the corner.
Yeah, I've become friends. Like, it's been pretty awesome. Like, because of this podcast, I've become friends with, you know, several people who I never, ever, ever thought that I would ever be friends with. And yeah, like Ray said, they, because of the climate, there's things that they cannot talk about or will not talk about on air, but they've got some great stories off air.
But I will say the craziest thing that's ever happened on the podcast is we're talking to Mark Singer, and he invites me to come over to his house the next time I'm in fucking California. And I'm just like, I'm never going to be in California. I don't have any money. Like, that's not something I do. Like, just fly around the country and shit. But he's like, yeah, the next time you're out here, swing by, we'll have lunch. Be awesome. I'm like, Jesus Christ. What
now, how funny would that be if you showed up to his house I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, let's go. I'm ready for lunch, Mark.
Here's the crazy part, though. He'd be like, cool, let's go have lunch, because Casey's been there and had lunch with him.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I've been there.
awesome.
I've been there several times.
And he's
hilarious.
Fucking
he's like, when you coming out? Casey's been
Yeah.
here. Why aren't you out here already? I'm like, dude, man, I'm barely scraping by as it is. I'm not buying a plane ticket.
It's cool that the relationships you make with the people you interview. I think
Yeah.
I've made multiple relationships with people that I didn't expect to, that I talk to them more than my in real life friends every
And
day.
I will say this also. When I first got into this, I was like, all these celebrities are going to be fucking cunts. I'm not going to like any of these people. They're so out of touch with reality. And it's just going to be a waste of my fucking time being nice to these people. And I have been proven wrong in every fucking interview I've done over the course of 5 years. Like, they've all been the nicest people. Just most of them are pretty normal. There's been a few that are weird, but you know, you give somebody a bunch of money, they're going to be a little fucking weird.
Yeah. Before Ray came onto the podcast too, I had one. Bill and I had one episode that was, the guy was a little dicky, and I thought, and I don't mind mentioning his name because he unfriended me on Facebook. So Robert Wool, if anyone
Really?
remembers who he is, he was in Arliss. He was the main guy. He was Arliss in Arliss. I thought he was a bit dicky.
Yeah, you get.
But-
I'm sure you got to run into that here and there, especially when you're dealing with people who had like some sort of fame, some sort of fortune. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
look,
honestly though, in like 120 episodes, he's really the only one that we've had like that was a real like that I thought was like a dick. There was another one that Ray and I had on, and I won't mention his name because I thought he was a little dicky. But Ray's
I knew you were going to bring it up.
Ray's like, that's how friends talk to each other. I was like, yeah.
And I will say, when Scotty Schwartz was laying in the bed,
Oh, that guy.
that was weird. But like I told Casey, I almost the following week was going to move all my shit to the bedroom and do the same thing.
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was
well, look,
weird. Scott Schwartz, he was on our first episode ever, and then I was like, you know what, let's have him on for our 100th episode to fucking bring everything around full circle. And we turn it on, and he's laying down in his fucking bed, and we're like, what the fuck?
but he was still fucking,
Yeah, he's still awesome, but
a great guy. But it's just weird.
that I don't know if I could ever do a podcast laying in bed. Like, it's
like, to be fair, when people say we want you to be on our podcast, it's mostly an audio thing, you know what I mean? So there's
But you had to click the link.
yeah, I mean, but there's very few, I mean,
What now? We do
guess
get
it's-
that a lot. We do get that a lot. They're like, is this audio or video?
yeah, I guess it's being more, it's a newer thing that podcasts are on YouTube also. So, but on our first episode, we were on YouTube also. So
that's awesome. That I feel like that would be a memorable, like, you got to have him back for like 150 and see if he goes. If he
I
goes
tell you what, dude, when he comes, if we get him back again, I am going to go to the bedroom.
we'll all
You
be
should
doing
do it like
Yeah.
in a tub. Do like a fucking bubble bath or something, you know?
Now, what I really want to do is shirt off, half covered in blanket with a big fucking thing of grapes, and I'm just eating grapes while I'm doing the interview.
Hey, Rob, before you let us go, give me 1 second. I want to grab something here, and then we'll wrap up.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Dylan.
And I'm Cameron.
And we're the hosts of Barstool Film School, a conversational comedy podcast about the very best Marvel movies. You know, the ones that are like perfect to watch when you're hanging out in a bar with friends. Now, I'm a writer and a film school washout.
And I'm a bar owner.
So we ought to know what we're talking about.
You would hope.
Tune in every other week, wherever you get your pods, as we take on a new flick
And we will pair those flicks with some cocktails.
to see if they pass the bar. Now, what do you say, Cam? Shall we pour ourselves another round?
Let's do it.
All right.
You had mentioned earlier that we've been prepping for the Denny Awards. So last year was the first annual Denny Awards. We had everyone from the network on. They come up with their own category, and then Ray and I hosted it. Everyone sent in their videos of their their category and whatever. Did a cool little video. For the since that day, I've been thinking like we need to have a deluxe edition network like gathering, a family gathering, if you will. And so this year I talked to another member of the network, Joel, the hair surgeon. He owns the Red Horse Hair Studio in Reading, Pennsylvania. And for the last year, he's been having comedy shows and different things there, music shows in the salons on the weekend. So I said, hey, buddy, what do you think if we have the Denny's there at Red Horse sometime this year? And he was like, that would be a fucking great idea, man. So September 21st this year, 2024, we will all be gathering in Reading, Pennsylvania. And we will be having the second annual Denny Awards. Won't be live. It'll be recorded and everything. But we're adding this year, I mentioned earlier, our podcast of the year for 2023, Bev's Video Kingdom. But for this year, 2024, we will also be adding a podcaster of the year for the network. And I just had this beautiful belt made by Pro-Am Belts.
That is badass. Look at that shit.
Yep, there
Check
it is.
that out. If you're not on YouTube, head over to YouTube right now and check this out.
I cannot wait to get my nail out and carve my name in that fucking thing.
But yeah, Pro-Am Belts, man, they do a fucking wonderful job. Go check them out on Instagram. Pro-Am Belts. So yeah, September 21st, 2024, we will be having the Denny Awards. So
I will be there, and I will be imbibing probably massive amounts of alcohol, sir.
Awesome. Yeah, I think everybody will be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ray was like, I said, because there's another member of our network, Rob, we mentioned from Metalhead Journeys. He lives in the same town as Ray. They are friends, which they fucking kept a secret from me for fucking years. But awesome. So yeah, Rob said he will be driving Ray in, so there will be plenty of drinking going on.
Yeah, I have no excuse now that I don't want to drive there or do anything. So yeah, they tricked me.
That's the best trick, though, right? I mean,
that's not a bad
the Denny's, and you get to drink copious amounts of booze.
I was going to do that anyways.
I said to Ray, I was like, if you show up, I'll buy the beer. He goes, I drink a lot.
You better get that Discover ready, sir. But before we leave, thank you guys for letting me take over the show, man. And thank you for letting me be part of the network. And, hopefully I can continue to help you guys and help it grow.
Yeah, thank you, man. Plug away, man. Where can people find you and all that stuff?
Yeah, I guess just probably self-promote, huh? It's not I guess I'm one of those people, I hate to kind of like, I'm not gonna throw my shit out there unless it's like, hey man, what's your shit? Like I maybe I should be take that a little bit more serious, but I try not to be annoying. But
if you want your podcast to fucking do better.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's the Drink O'Clock podcast. You can find me anywhere you listen to podcasts. I have a YouTube, social media, all that jazz, TikTok. It's Drink O'Clock Pod on most socials. New episodes launch Thursday or Friday every week, depending upon when I actually edit my shit, because I do have a full-time job that makes me want to kill myself as it is. And yeah, man, come hang out. I interview people. We drink. I'm going to be adding in, I think, some new things going forward for 2024, hopefully to grow the audience and make it a little bit more fun too. And we'll see what happens.
Awesome, man. Yeah, your show is one of those, an interview show. Like I'm trying to get our listeners to, like, I listen to your show because I want to hear you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know any of the guests that you have on your show. You're not getting popular, like, crazy celebrities on your show. I listen to your show because I want to hear you, and it's your great conversational skills that make the podcast great. because it's you talking, just having a conversation with, someone. That's what makes it awesome.
I appreciate that, man. Drinking helps. However, I will say this. I've cut back when I do my shows, because in the beginning I would do shots. Like if you watch some of my or listen to some of my first shows, I would do shots of Fireball. Like, yeah, I have 3 or 4 shots in an hour, and I was drinking 6 ounces of whiskey. By the end of the show, I'm asking these authors. I'm like, yeah, what did you sing? They're like, I'm an author. I'm like, fuck. So.
Yeah. If you pay attention to some of the interviews we've done, you can tell I'm fucking.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, have you met Ray?
Yeah.
so I've cut back. I don't do the shots during the show, but I've gotten some feedback from a couple people. They want to throw in like drinking games with guests, and I was like, I got to be careful, because some people I interview, they're sober.
Well, yeah, you don't want a recovering alcoholic and just go, hey, you want to play drinking games?
Yeah, they're like, oh, hey, and they come up and they got a line of Coke under their nose, like, let's fucking go, man, So I told him, I'm like, I gotta kind of. It depends on who you're interviewing, and you don't know that. Like, you guys interview people, so you get it. So it's like you don't really know. So a lot of times before I even go on, I'm like, hey, what can I say? What can I say? What freaks you out? What doesn't freak you out? Because everyone has a trigger, So I always try to make sure if you come on my show, it's a safe space. You can say what you want. Like, I'm not a judgy person, so say whatever the fuck you want, as long as you're not blatantly racist. You can tell a couple racist jokes if you like, if you're a comedian, because that's your gig, But as long as you're not like an actual racist or saying some crazy shit, it's a safe place.
We actually have a guest coming up in the next couple weeks. I scheduled because she was on your podcast.
Who'd you get on?
Marcy Warcraft.
Oh, dude, she's awesome. She was one of my better episodes.
Dude, I started listening to her book. I don't think I was telling Ray yet. I started listening to her book last night, and I just texted her, and I was like, started listening to your book last night, and she goes, what'd you think? And I just wrote back, wow.
I'm surprised she didn't say you're in for a treat. That's what she said to me. I'm like, I'm listening to your book, and holy shit. She's like, you're in for a treat when you get to the sexual stuff. I'm like, oh, great. Yeah. Ray, if you haven't listened to it, bro, go listen to it. Her life is it was a tough life, but she's awesome, man. She had a great demeanor, and it's cool what she's doing in terms of, a lot of her socials. She's so just like positive. I couldn't be positive if I had her life. Fuck
no, man. That's why I want to talk to her.
I can barely be positive with the life I have.
Well, look, dude, it was awesome. I appreciate it, and I'll be excited for the Denny's, and I'm gonna be doing maybe a happy hour or something live, and I feel like we should plan something.
Awesome, man.
Cool. If you guys are down.
Hey, one more pro tip: when you get these people who quit drinking on your podcast, just put all your shit in a solo cup.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. I definitely need to do that.
I actually do that if I know our guests are not drinking anymore. I actually will. That's the only time you'll see me with a solo cup.
Yep.
Is because I know they don't drink.
Yeah, we had Jackie the Joke before Ray joined the podcast. I had Jackie the Joke Man Martling on from the Howard Stern show years ago.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
I was like talking to the Bill that did the show. I was like, I'm not going to drink during the episode. I don't even, because I always had this vape thing, and I used to always take a big whack of my vape pen to start the show. And I was like, I don't even want to do that because, Jackie's been sober for like 30 some years and whatever. And like the first thing Jackie starts talking about is like, he's growing his own weed and all this shit. I was like, wow, what the fuck?
Like, oh shit. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, you got to respect the people, and I do everything I can to make sure my show is a safe space. Because let's be honest, guys, it's really hard to speak your mind and have an intelligent conversation with somebody without them telling you you're wrong and why you're wrong. And they don't have any information to back it up, and they just want to tell you you're wrong. Like, we come from an era where you could both disagree, but have an actual intelligent conversation. And from my show, whether I'm talking to someone that and someone you don't know, I want them to feel safe, and I want them to be able to, and even if I don't agree with them, I want to be able to talk to them and let them know that they're safe to kind of express their opinions on the show, and I feel like it's worked so far.
Yeah, like in today's day and age, you're not allowed to have your own opinion. And if you do, keep it to yourself.
Yeah. With all the socials that we have, keep it to yourself, because if it's not the public opinion, it's wrong, which is is mind blowing to me. But
yeah, buddy.
All right, boys.
Thanks for taking over, brother.
Dude, it was fucking great. I enjoyed it. I went through my whiskey exceptionally faster than I normally do, so gonna have to go get some more Bullet Rye. That's my
the
whiskey.
reason I asked you, because we recorded 2 episodes today. I was like, I text Robert. I was like, can we start a little earlier? I was like, he's like, I'm watching the game right now. And it's like, I wanted to keep my fucking drink going because Ray and I were drinking earlier, and I was like, I want to keep fucking drinking. Let's fucking get this show on the road.
Just not have a lull, you gotta just keep it rolling.
I started at 10, so I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
I also started at like 10:30. No, wait, I got up at like 10:30. I started at 11 today.
It's Sunday. It's Sunday in football season, and even though my Browns are already out and they're not playing today, I got to be consistent with my Sunday football drinking.
That's true. It's true. It wouldn't be you if you weren't doing it, man.
And now I got to go drink and watch football. So
that's right.
Yeah, we got another like hour and a half left of the game. So.
That's right. Hopefully it's not.
Boys.
You know if it's a blowout?
I haven't even looked at the score yet, to be honest.
Yeah, no clue.
So
there's nothing.
Every game this week has been a blowout.
Blowouts suck.
I think the Eagles are going to lose, but I hope they don't, because Dallas lost. So
I want the Eagles to lose.
All right, calm down now.
I don't like Jalen Hurts. I think he's a shitty.
All right, calm down.
I think if we lose, we're gonna be firing everybody, and it's the whole thing.
It'll clean house again. That's what they do.
It's too much, man. I just kind of want it to be over. The stress is killing me. I get angry. I'm gonna be angry going into work on Tuesday.
Well, it's funny. A couple of weeks ago, and we'll end on this. I know you're ready to go, but a couple of weeks ago, I was up in Pennsylvania, and I was getting my hair cut at Joel, the hair surgeon. He's the host of Horsing Around, and him and a friend of ours, Sam, was in the chair next to me. Joel was cutting Sam's hair. I was in Sean's chair. And they were talking all about the Eagles and everything. And this dude across the aisle, he's getting his hair cut by Shane. And Shane turns him around and he goes, yeah, this might be a unpopular opinion, but Jalen Hurts fucking sucks. And like nobody said a fucking word, right? Like not a word. And like it was silent until that dude left the building, right? And then as soon as he left, Sam started fucking blah, blah, blah. Well, he was sick the last fucking 2 weeks and this and that. And I go, why didn't you say that when he was in here? And Joel was like, well, I'm kind of glad that he didn't, because I like to keep my customers, more. He's like, I'd say that to one of my friends, but not one of my customers,
It's tough because he played for a check last year. And then he gets the bag. It's what happens typically. You don't see it happen to the greats like a Mahomes. He has bad games, but he plays to his contract. And, Lamar Jackson played to his contract. He's going to get the MVP this year. But some people get the bag, and that's it.
Yep. Oh, believe me. Watson he'll play 2 games next year and then pull some kind of fucking hammy injury and waddle off and miss the rest of the year again. So.
Yeah, I said to Ray, I go, are the Browns keeping Flacco on? He goes, we paid like millions of dollars to this starting quarterback. I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. I didn't fucking know that.
Yeah,
Watson's probably going to have a very successful massage parlor that's going to be all around Ohio.
Quite honestly, I have been saying this since the beginning of the season. Watson is going to fucking retire and use injuries as the reason so he can keep his money, and the NFL won't fuck with him when the Browns try to sue him to get it back. Because if he can prove he's in, if I had $230 million plus the 50 they just gave me, do you think I'd fucking want to run around on a fucking field and chuck a ball to assholes? No.
I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere.
Exactly. I'm shocked he even goes to the fucking games. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. We're in agreement, sir. if I'm getting the bag, I'm out too. Oh, my stomach hurts. I shit my pants. I can't play today.
All right. I think we
All
can
right, boys.
Yeah. Thank you, Rob, man. This was awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Good to talk to you, bro.
Yeah, man. I this is the first time I met you, so
Yeah.
it's been a beautiful thing.
Yep.
Very beautiful. And we look forward to seeing you in September.
Hopefully it'll be the normal me that you'll remember and not the drunk me. So
It's gonna be the
All right,
drunk of
boys.
all of us. So
I can't wait to see that on video. That'll be fun.
all right, brother. Later, man.
Yeah.
Later.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.